Warner Bros. Buried a Harry Potter expanded universe deal that would have changed everything, and the reason they killed it is something they never wanted you to know. In 2014, there was a signed framework agreement, 18 months of quiet negotiation between Warner Bros. Television and J.K. Rowling's representatives for a Wizarding World television series on HBO. The deal existed, the numbers existed, and then it vanished, and the reason they killed it is worse than you think. This wasn't a pitch that got cold feet. This was an executed deal, with a showrunner shortlist already circulating inside Warner Bros. Television. Something happened between the signatures and the green light, and they buried it so completely that most fans never even knew to look. To understand how it started, you have to go back to 2012. Warner Bros. Had just closed the Harry Potter film series with Deathly Hallows Part 2, $1.34 billion at the worldwide box office, the franchise's biggest single entry. And they had a problem. They had run out of source material. Inside the studio, two camps formed immediately. The theatrical division, under studio chief Jeff Robinov, wanted another film franchise, the property that would eventually become Fantastic Beasts. But Warner Bros. Television president Bruce Rosenblum saw something different. HBO in 2012 was coming off the first season of Game of Thrones. The prestige television era was beginning. His argument, made directly to HBO leadership, was that the Wizarding World was a better fit for long-form storytelling than for film. That what 8 movies couldn't do, 8 episodes of HBO could. By early 2013, Rosenblum had authorized preliminary conversations with Rowling's team at the Blair Partnership. They confirmed interest. What followed was 18 months of closed-room negotiation, no press, no leaks, no trade announcements. By late 2014, a framework agreement was in place. The reported figure being discussed for Rowling's creative participation was $40 to $50 million across a multi-series commitment. HBO had been formally briefed. A showrunner shortlist was already circulating inside the television division. The working title internally was simply Hogwarts. Not a prequel, not Fantastic Beasts, the actual castle, the actual world, stories from the books that never made it to screen. Characters like Neville Longbottom and Luna Lovegood given room to breathe. The full portrait of the First Wizarding War. Answers to questions Rowling had been sitting on since 2007. This was the deal. Real dollar figures. Real names. Real signatures. You were never supposed to know it existed. Then 2015 happened, and the deal began to die. In March 2015, Warner Bros. Committed to the expanded DC Extended Universe, a strategic bet to build a theatrical superhero franchise to compete with Marvel. The money required was enormous. The internal bandwidth required was larger. Jeff Robinov, who had served as the theatrical division's counterweight to Rosenblum's television ambitions, had already departed. His replacement, Kevin Tsujihara, had a different view of where franchise bets belonged. Not television, theatrical. And the theatrical first mandate raised a structural question nobody, inside Warner Bros. Wanted to answer out loud. Could you run a Wizarding World film franchise and a Wizarding World television universe simultaneously, under separate creative leadership, without the two tracks destroying each other? Remember that signed deal? Here's where it died. The pattern interrupt. The thing that doesn't fit the obvious narrative is this. The Wizarding World television deal wasn't killed because it was a bad idea. It was killed because it was too good an idea in the wrong place at the wrong moment. A television universe operating under Warner Bros. Television, with Rowling holding creative approval rights, created a separate power center, a competing franchise track. The DC deal required centralized creative control under the theatrical umbrella. 2 Wizarding World tracks, one in theaters, one on HBO, each with its own showrunner, each with its own canon decisions, would have generated constant conflict. Studio executives in early 2015 ran the scenario. The conclusion was that the television deal as structured was incompatible with the DC expansion. But that's not even the part they really buried. The deeper issue was the approval clause. Rowling's contract for any television expansion required creative approval rights that Warner Bros. Legal determined created too much exposure, not just for the Wizarding World, but for every deal the studio was structuring in that period. Her veto power over canon decisions would have bled into the theatrical side. The television deal was killed not because of Harry Potter. It was killed because of Batman v Superman. Think about what we lost. A 2016 HBO launch, the same year Westworld premiered, at the peak of prestige television's cultural moment, arriving with Rowling's full canonical blessing, with stories she had built in her notebooks and never published. We got Fantastic Beasts instead, 3 films that struggled to find an audience and ended early. The HBO version was projected, by every internal estimate that surfaced in the years after, to run for a minimum of 5 seasons. 5 seasons of the Wizarding World, told with the depth that long-form television allows. What we were told didn't exist. The question nobody has answered is whether that deal is actually dead or just dormant. The HBO Max series announced in 2023 is not the same project. The creative framework from 2014 has never been formally disclosed. Warner Bros. Isn't the only studio sitting on deals that never saw daylight. Disney has a few of those too.